It was a bright Monday morning when Lily woke up, stretching her arms and yawning. She loved school, not just because she got to learn new things, but because she enjoyed seeing her friends and spending time in art class, where she could draw and paint. Her room was filled with colorful posters and little notes she had written to herself. The sun shone through the curtains, lighting up her messy desk scattered with notebooks and pencils. Today, she thought, would be just like any other day. Downstairs, her mother was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. The smell of toast and scrambled eggs filled the air. Lily's mother smiled as she saw her daughter walking down the stairs, still rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Morning, sweetie. Did you sleep well?" she asked, placing a plate in front of Lily. "Yes, Mom," Lily replied, sitting down. "I think today's going to be good. We have art class first, and I finally get to start my painting project." Her mother nodded, happy to see her daughter excited. They talked for a few minutes about what Lily wanted to paint. And then Lily finished her breakfast, quickly brushing her teeth and tying her hair into a neat ponytail. Walking to school, Lily waved to a few neighbors she knew. The streets were alive with children going to school, parents hurrying to work, and the sound of birds chirping. She loved this little part of her morning, the calm before the day really began. Her best friend, Mia, caught up to her halfway. "Hey, are you ready for art class?" Mia asked, grinning. "Totally. I've been thinking about my painting all weekend," Lily said, feeling a flutter of excitement. They walked together, chatting about their plans for the day, laughing at small jokes and sharing stories about their weekend. It was simple, happy, ordinary, but that ordinary would soon take a sharp turn. As Lily entered her classroom, she noticed a substitute teacher standing by the desk. His name was Mr. Thompson, a man in his 40s with a confident smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. The regular teacher had gone on a last-minute trip, so Mr. Thompson was filling in. At first, he seemed friendly enough, joking a little with the students as they settled in. He asked their names, where they liked to sit, and even complimented Lily's bright green backpack. For a few minutes, everything seemed normal. Lily pulled out her notebook and pencils, ready for the first lesson. Mr. Thompson started the class with a math exercise, but his eyes seemed to wander around the room more than necessary. Some students noticed it, whispering to each other, but Lily didn't think much of it. She focused on her work, enjoying the challenge of the problems. After a while, Mr. Thompson asked the students to switch to reading. Lily picked up her book, settling comfortably in her chair. But she noticed he had a mischievous glint in his eye, like he was planning something. At first she ignored it, assuming he was just a quirky teacher. Then came art class. Finally. Lily's heart lifted. Art class was her favorite part of the day. She sat at her usual table near the window, where sunlight fell perfectly on the blank canvas she had prepared. Her paints were neatly lined up, brushes ready. Mia sat across from her, equally excited. Mr. Thompson wandered around the classroom looking at students' work. Interesting," he muttered, stopping near Lily. "What are you painting today?" "I'm going to paint a garden with flowers and butterflies," Lily said, her eyes sparkling. "I've been planning it all weekend." He nodded slowly, but then, out of nowhere, he leaned closer. "You know," he said in a joking tone, "your hair is a little messy. Maybe it could use a trim." Lily laughed nervously. "Oh, I like my hair this way. I just tied it up this morning." She didn't think much of it. She thought he was just teasing her like some teachers did. But then he pulled scissors from his desk drawer. The sudden movement made Lily's stomach drop. "Wait, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. She tried to move back, but he was too quick. Before anyone could react, he snipped a piece of her hair. Lily froze, staring at the scissors and the small clump of hair in shock. "You can't do that," she cried. Some students gasped, others froze in disbelief. A few laughed awkwardly, unsure if it was a joke or serious. But for Lily, it felt like her world had turned upside down. She felt a hot wave of embarrassment and anger, her heart pounding. "Relax, it's just a little fun," Mr. Thompson said, smiling, but there was no warmth in his eyes. He snipped another piece. Lily felt tears sting her eyes. Her friends tried to help, but he waved them away, insisting it was all in good humor. Lily wanted to shout, to run, to hide, but she couldn't. The classroom that had felt safe and normal now felt like a trap. Finally, Lily ran out of the classroom, clutching her hair. She didn't look back. She went to the bathroom, locking the door behind her, and stared into the mirror. She couldn't believe what had happened. The long hair she had loved, the hair she had taken care of every morning, was now uneven and chopped. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She felt humiliated and worse, powerless. She heard faint knocks on the door. "Lily, are you okay?" Mia's voice called. Lily shook her head, trying to compose herself. She whispered, He cut my hair. For fun." Mia's voice trembled. "What, that's not okay." Lily knew it wasn't. She felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, embarrassment, and confusion. She wanted someone to make it right, but she didn't know who to turn to. Finally, she wiped her tears and left the bathroom. She walked slowly to the principal's office. Her hands were shaking. The hallway seemed longer than usual, and every step felt heavy. She knocked, and the secretary looked up in surprise. "Lily!" "What's wrong?" He cut my hair," Lily whispered, barely able to say it. The secretary's eyes widened. "Oh, Lily, and come in. I'll call the principal." While waiting, Lily's mind raced. She remembered the morning, the walk to school, the laughter with Mia. It all seemed like another life now, one that had ended with a few snips of scissors. She wondered if anyone would understand how she felt, if anyone would believe her, or if she would have to face Mr. Thompson alone. Finally, the principal arrived. She looked concerned and guided Lily to sit down. "Can you tell me what happened?" she asked gently. Lily took a deep breath and explained everything, her voice shaking but steady. The principal listened carefully, taking notes, nodding as Lily spoke. Meanwhile, word of the incident spread through the school. Students whispered in the hallways, some sympathizing with Lily, others gossiping. Lily felt the weight of everyone's eyes, and the embarrassment grew heavier with every passing minute. She wished she could disappear or at least go home and hide until everything felt normal again. By the time the day ended, Lily walked home slowly, her head lowered. Her mother noticed immediately and asked what happened. Lily hesitated but finally told her everything. Her mother's face turned pale and she pulled Lily into a tight hug. "Oh, Lily, this shouldn't have happened. We're going to fix this," she said firmly. Lily clung to her mother, feeling a small glimmer of hope. Little did Lily know her father was about to find out about this. He wasn't at home that morning, busy with work, but the moment he heard, he would not let this go unnoticed. Lily had no idea that the man who had always been her quiet hero, her protector in the background, was about to step in. And so what began as a bright, ordinary Monday had turned into a day that Lily would never forget. A day when fun went too far, when boundaries were crossed, and when the world seemed unfair. But it was also the beginning of a story that would change everything, not just for Lily, but for everyone who witnessed what would happen next. Lily got home that afternoon feeling heavy and small. She dragged her feet across the front yard, her backpack feeling heavier than usual. Her mother was waiting in the kitchen, sorting through the mail. The moment Lily saw her mother, her chest tightened. She wanted to hide, but she couldn't. She had to tell someone what had happened. "Mom," Lily began, her voice trembling. She tried to speak, but tears welled up again. Her mother immediately knelt down to her level, placing her hands gently on Lily's shoulders. "It's okay, Lily, tell me what happened." Lily took a deep breath and explained everything. She told her mother how Mr. Thompson had snatched scissors and cut her hair for fun, how the other students had reacted, and how embarrassed and hurt she felt. As she spoke, tears fell freely and her mother hugged her tightly. "Oh, Lily," her mother whispered, shaking her head. "No one has the right to do that. You didn't deserve this at all." She gently wiped away Lily's tears. "We're going to handle this together. Don't worry." Lily felt a small sense of relief at her mother's words, but it was mixed with anxiety. What if the school didn't take it seriously? What if Mr. Thompson didn't face any consequences? Her stomach twisted at the thought. Her mother picked up the phone and dialed the school. Lily listened as her mother calmly explained the situation to the principal, who sounded shocked and concerned. The principal promised to investigate immediately and to speak to Mr. Thompson. Still, Lily could tell that talking to the principal wasn't enough. She wanted someone strong to protect her, someone who could make the teacher understand how serious this was. Meanwhile, Lily's father, who had been working on a movie set that morning, received a call from her mother. She tried to keep her voice calm but urgent. "Guys need to come home," she said. "Lily, there's been an incident at school. He cut her hair." The words seemed to hit him like a lightning bolt. Cutting a child's hair as a joke? That was unacceptable. He immediately dropped everything he was doing and called the school himself. He wanted to hear the details firsthand, to understand exactly what happened. The principal explained the situation, carefully describing the incident and Mr. Thompson's behavior. He listened in silence, his expression serious. He could hear the shock in the principal's voice, and it made him angrier knowing his daughter had been humiliated. "Thank you for explaining. I'll be there soon," he said firmly. He ended the call and quickly made arrangements to fly home. Lily didn't know all of this was happening. She sat at the kitchen table staring at her reflection in a small, compact mirror. The uneven strands of hair poked out in every direction, and she felt tears prick at her eyes again. She thought about going back to school the next day, and a shiver ran down her spine. How could she face the classroom, the students who had seen her embarrassed, and the teacher who had done this to her? Her mother noticed her expression and reached out. "Lily, I know it feels awful now, but we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. You're safe and no one can take that away from you." Lily nodded silently, though inside she felt a swirl of emotions: fear, anger, sadness, and confusion. She wanted someone to step in and make the teacher understand that what he did was wrong. She wanted justice, but she didn't know how it would happen. The next morning, Lily woke up early. She tried to brush her hair and tie it neatly, but the uneven lengths made it impossible. She sighed and decided to put on a hat to cover it. She wanted to feel normal again, even if only a little. When she arrived at school, she noticed whispers in the hallways. Students stared, some with sympathy, others with curiosity. Her best friend Mia rushed up to her. "Lily, don't worry. Mom told me everything. You're not alone." Lily smiled weakly, grateful for her friend's support. They walked to class together, holding on to each other as they approached the classroom where the incident had happened. Inside the classroom, Mr. Thompson was already there. He tried to act as if nothing had happened, giving polite smiles and instructions. But the air was tense. The students avoided him, and Lily's heart raced as she took her seat. She didn't know if she could concentrate on anything he said. The principal had also called a meeting for later that morning, informing Mr. Thompson that an investigation was underway. For the first time, Lily felt a flicker of hope. Someone was taking this seriously, and maybe, just maybe, things would be set right. At lunchtime, Lily's mother called again. "Lily, your dad is on his way home. He'll be there soon. You don't have to worry about facing this alone." Hearing this, Lily felt a mix of relief and anticipation. Her father was a big, strong man, someone who always made her feel protected. The thought of him stepping in made her feel safer already. She imagined him walking into the school, speaking firmly to the teacher and making everything right. By mid-afternoon, the school office was buzzing with activity. The principal and a few teachers were discussing the incident, reviewing what had happened and how to handle it. Meanwhile, Lily sat quietly, her hat hiding the uneven strands of hair, thinking about how things could have gone differently. She wished she could rewind the day, stop the scissors, and keep her hair intact. Suddenly, the doors of the school office opened, and Lily's father walked in. Even though he tried to keep his expression calm, there was a seriousness in his eyes that made the teacher stop and take notice. He walked straight to the principal, who quickly gestured for Lily to come along. As Lily saw him, her heart lifted. She felt a wave of comfort wash over her. She wasn't alone anymore. Her father knelt down and hugged her gently. "Hey, kiddo," he said softly. "I'm here now. We're going to fix this together." Lily clung to him, feeling the tension in her body ease slightly. She could feel his protective presence, the kind that made her feel like nothing could hurt her while he was around. For the first time since the incident, she felt a sense of relief and safety. Her father then addressed the principal. His voice was calm but firm. "I want to know exactly what happened, who was involved, and what steps you're taking to make sure this never happens again." The principal nodded, giving a full account of the situation. She explained how Mr. Thompson had acted, how the students reacted, and what immediate actions had been taken. Lily listened silently, feeling a mix of pride and comfort in her father's determination. Once the principal finished, her father turned to Lily. "Are you okay?" he asked, looking into her eyes. I'm scared," Lily admitted. "I don't want to go back to that classroom." Her father smiled gently. "You won't have to face it alone. I'll be with you, and we'll make sure the teacher understands that this is not acceptable. No one should ever make you feel embarrassed or unsafe." The rest of the afternoon was spent discussing the next steps. The school promised to address the incident formally, and Mr. Thompson was informed that disciplinary action was underway. Lily's father stayed close, reassuring her at every turn. The students who had witnessed the event were reminded about respect and boundaries, and the teachers were asked to be more vigilant. By the time the school day ended, Lily felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She still felt hurt and embarrassed about her hair, but the thought that her father was there standing up for her gave her a new sense of strength. She knew the road ahead would take time, her hair would grow back, and she would regain her confidence. But she also knew she wasn't alone. Walking home, Lily held her father's hand tightly. She glanced up at him and smiled, feeling safe for the first time since the scissors had cut through her hair. The ordinary Monday that had turned into a day of humiliation was now slowly becoming a story of protection, care, and justice. And though Lily couldn't know what would happen next, she felt ready. With her father by her side, she knew that the wrongs of the day would be set right, and she could face the school, the teacher, and her classmates with confidence once more. The next morning, Lily woke up with a mixture of nerves and hope. She could still feel the sting of what had happened, but knowing her father was taking care of things made her feel braver. She got out of bed and looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her hair was uneven and messy, a visible reminder of the previous day, but she straightened her shoulders and took a deep breath. She wasn't going to let this define her. Her mother noticed her determination and smiled. "You're strong, Lily, remember that. And your dad's coming with you to school today." Lily nodded, feeling comforted. The walk to school was quieter than usual. The streets were filled with students heading to class, some greeting each other, some lost in their own worlds. Lily held her father's hand tightly. She felt a sense of protection she hadn't felt before. She knew that today would be different. She could feel it in her bones. As they approached the school, a few students whispered and stared. Some of them had heard about the incident yesterday. Others were curious and a few were sympathetic. Lily tried to ignore the attention, focusing instead on her father, whose calm presence made her feel steady. Inside the school, the atmosphere was tense. Teachers and staff were murmuring to each other, aware that something important was about to happen. Mr. Thompson was in his classroom, trying to prepare for the day, but the tension was visible in his posture. He sensed that the calm he tried to project yesterday had disappeared. The principal met Lily and her father at the entrance. "I'm glad you're here," she said. "We want to make sure this is handled properly." Lily's father nodded. "I need to speak directly to the teacher involved. I want to understand what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again." The principal led them to a private office where Mr. Thompson was waiting. He looked surprised when he saw Lily's father. There was a pause, a tense silence as the reality of the situation settled in. "Mr. Thompson," Lily's father began, his voice calm but firm. "I'm Lily's father. She told me everything that happened yesterday. I want you to explain why you thought it was okay to cut her hair." Mr. Thompson swallowed nervously. I was just joking. I didn't mean any harm," he said, his voice shaky. "Joking?" Lily's father asked, his tone not raised but filled with authority. "You took scissors and cut a child's hair without permission. That is not a joke. That is completely unacceptable." The words hung in the air. Mr. Thompson tried to maintain composure, but it was clear he was worried. He knew he had crossed a line, and now he faced someone who wasn't going to let it slide. Lily watched from a few steps behind, feeling a mixture of relief and awe. Her father wasn't angry in a shouting way, but there was a strength and seriousness in him that made it clear he would protect her. She realized in that moment that she didn't have to face this alone. "I want to make this very clear," her father continued. "Lily's safety and well-being are not negotiable. You cannot humiliate a child or take advantage of your position as a teacher. Do you understand?" Mr. Thompson nodded quickly. "Yes, I understand. I'm sorry. I want more than words," her father said. "The school needs to take action, and you need to accept responsibility. You can't treat students like this, ever." The principal spoke up. "We've already started an investigation. There will be consequences, but your involvement today makes it clear that the family expects the school to take this seriously." Lily's father nodded. He turned to his daughter and said softly, "Are you okay to stay here while I speak to the principal about the next steps?" Lily nodded. She felt a mixture of pride and comfort. Her father's calm and firm handling of the situation gave her a new sense of strength. She realized that while the incident was humiliating, It wasn't going to define her. With her father supporting her, she could face what came next. After the meeting, the principal asked Mr. Thompson to leave the office. Lily's father stayed with her, explaining gently what was happening. The school will make sure the teacher understands the seriousness of this. They will also work to ensure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Lily felt a sense of justice beginning to take shape. She realized that while the physical cut in her hair was temporary, the lesson being taught was important. People in positions of authority needed to respect the children in their care. When it was time for class, the principal offered Lily and her father the option to walk into the room together. Lily felt a small nervous flutter, but she nodded. She wanted to face this, and having her father by her side made it less frightening. As they approached the classroom, students looked up. There was a hushed silence. Some stared curious. Others whispered to each other, unsure of what to say. But Lily felt a strange confidence. She held her father's hand tightly and walked in, standing beside him. Mr. Thompson looked up, visibly tense. He tried to speak, but the authority in Lily's father's presence made him hesitate. The room felt heavier, more serious than any day before. Her father spoke quietly but firmly. Lily deserves respect, as do all students. I expect the school to follow through, and I expect you to understand that your behavior yesterday was completely unacceptable. Mr. Thompson nodded again, swallowing. Lily realized that he finally understood the gravity of what he had done. For the first time, she felt that maybe the embarrassment and fear she had felt yesterday were being addressed. After a few minutes, her father gave her a reassuring squeeze on the shoulder. "You're safe," he said softly. "I'll make sure of it." Lily smiled faintly, feeling a mixture of relief and gratitude. The rest of the day continued, but the atmosphere had shifted. Students were quieter, more respectful. Some approached Lily to apologize or to say they were sorry she had gone through that. She felt the support of her peers in a way she hadn't expected. Even though her hair was still uneven, she felt a sense of inner strength growing. She realized that humiliation could be temporary, but courage and support could make a lasting difference. She focused on her art class, painting quietly, letting the colors and brush strokes calm her mind. By the end of the day, the school had taken clear action. Mr. Thompson had been informed that he would face suspension while the investigation continued. Lily's father stayed nearby, making sure she understood that she didn't have to worry about facing the teacher again. Walking home, Lily held her father's hand and felt a mixture of relief and empowerment. She had faced a situation that had seemed impossible, but she had a protector by her side and a sense of justice beginning to take shape. She looked up at him and smiled, realizing that the worst part of yesterday wasn't the teacher, it was being alone. Today she was not alone, and that made all the difference. Her mother was waiting at home, and Lily ran into her arms, telling her all about the day. She explained how her father had handled the situation, how the school had responded, and how she had felt supported by everyone around her. Her mother hugged her tightly, smiling through tears. "You were brave today," her mother said. "I'm so proud of you," Lily nodded. She knew it had been more than bravery. It had been about trust, support, and standing up for herself in a world that sometimes seemed unfair. She realized that even though bad things could happen, having people who cared could make all the difference. That evening, Lily looked in the mirror again. Her hair was still uneven, but she didn't feel embarrassed anymore. She felt stronger, more confident, and ready to face the next day. She knew there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew she wasn't alone. And that made everything possible. And so what had started as a moment of fear and humiliation had turned into a story of protection, courage, and the power of having someone on your side. Lily's father had stepped in when it mattered most, showing her that boundaries are important, respect is necessary, and no one should ever make her feel small. The morning sun poured through the windows, lighting up Lily's room in soft golden rays. She woke up feeling a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. Yesterday had been a whirlwind, and today would be the day when everything started to feel real. She ran her fingers through her hair, uneven and still short in places, but for the first time she didn't feel embarrassed. She had faced a situation that had seemed impossible and survived. She had her father by her side, and that made all the difference. Downstairs, her mother was preparing breakfast as usual. She glanced at Lily, noticing the quiet determination in her daughter's eyes. "Ready for today?" she asked gently. "Yes," Lily replied softly, trying to steady the nervous flutter in her stomach. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she knew her father was with her and that gave her courage. Walking to school that morning felt different. The streets were busy as usual, but Lily noticed small things she hadn't before. The way the sun glinted on the sidewalks, the chatter of children walking together, the smell of fresh pastries from the bakery. It all felt brighter somehow, as if the world was a little kinder than yesterday. When they arrived at the school, the tension was noticeable immediately. Teachers were gathered in the hallways, whispering to each other, their faces serious. The principal met them at the entrance and led Lily and her father into a private office. Mr. Thompson was already there, sitting stiffly in a chair. His usual confident posture was gone, replaced by nervousness and unease. Lily's father took a deep breath and spoke clearly, his voice calm but commanding. "Mr. Thompson, I am Lily's father. I want to understand why you thought it was acceptable to cut a child's hair." Mr. Thompson shifted uncomfortably. I didn't mean any harm. I was just joking. It was supposed to be fun." "Fun?" Lily's father repeated, his tone firm. "Taking scissors and cutting a child's hair is not fun. It is humiliating and completely unacceptable. You have a responsibility to care for your students, not to scare or embarrass them." Mr. Thompson swallowed hard. He realized that the casual attitude he had yesterday would no longer work. He had underestimated the seriousness of the situation, and now he was facing someone who would not tolerate excuses. Lily stood quietly, listening to the conversation. She felt a mixture of pride and relief. Her father's presence gave her confidence. For the first time since the incident, she felt a sense of power returning to her. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was being protected and justice was beginning to take shape. Her father continued, his voice steady. "I want this to be clear. What you did was wrong. You have violated trust and the school will take the appropriate action. Lily should never have been subjected to this, and I expect consequences that reflect the seriousness of your actions." The principal nodded in agreement. "We have already begun the investigation. There will be disciplinary measures and the teacher will be held accountable. Your involvement today reinforces the seriousness of the situation." Mr. Thompson looked down at his hands, a mixture of guilt and fear in his eyes. He had never imagined that a simple joke would lead to this level of scrutiny. The realization that his actions had caused real harm was finally sinking in. After the meeting, Lily's father turned to her and spoke softly. "Are you okay, Lily? Do you feel ready to face the classroom?" Lily nodded. I think so. I want to move forward even if it's scary." He smiled gently. "That's my brave girl. Remember, I'll be right here. You're not alone." Together they walked to the classroom. The hallway was quiet, and the students stared as they passed. Some whispered among themselves, curious about what was happening. Others looked sympathetic, understanding that Lily had gone through something difficult. Lily felt a strange sense of pride. She had faced humiliation, and now she was walking back with courage and support. Inside the classroom, Mr. Thompson stood at the front, visibly tense. He tried to smile politely, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. He knew that the atmosphere had shifted. The presence of Lily's father was commanding, and it made him realize that he could not treat this lightly. Lily's father spoke again, this time addressing the entire classroom. "Everyone here deserves respect. Students should never feel afraid or humiliated by a teacher. We are all responsible for making this a safe place to learn." The students listened in silence. Some nodded quietly, understanding the weight of his words. Others shifted nervously, realizing how serious the situation had become. Lily took her seat, holding her father's hand for a moment before letting go. She felt a wave of relief. She knew she was safe, and that gave her the courage to focus on the lessons ahead. For the first time in 2 days, she felt like she could breathe without anxiety. The day continued, but the classroom felt different. Teachers were more attentive, students were quieter and more respectful, and Lily noticed that some of her classmates even apologized to her quietly for laughing or staring yesterday. She felt a sense of healing beginning. During art class, Lily sat near the window, painting quietly. The colors and brushstrokes helped her calm her mind. She thought about what had happened and how her father had handled it. He hadn't shouted or caused a scene. He had been firm, fair, and protective. It made her feel safe and empowered at the same time. When lunchtime came, her father stayed nearby, talking quietly with the principal about the next steps. Lily ate slowly, feeling a mix of normalcy and lingering tension. She knew there would still be consequences for the teacher, and that gave her hope. She also felt gratitude for the support around her father, her mother, and even the principal who had listened and acted responsibly. By the end of the day, Mr. Thompson had been informed that he would face suspension while the investigation continued. The principal also announced that additional training on student respect and safety would be mandatory for all staff. Lily felt a sense of justice. The teacher had been held accountable, and the school was taking steps to prevent this from happening again. Walking home, Lily felt lighter. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over the streets. She held her father's hand tightly, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and love. "Thank you," she said softly. He smiled down at her. "You don't need to thank me, Lily. I'm always going to protect you. You were brave today, and I'm proud of you." Her mother joined them in the front yard, smiling warmly. "You handled yourself so well today, Lily. I'm proud of you, too." Lily felt a small surge of happiness. The fear and humiliation of the previous days were slowly fading. She realized that while what had happened was unfair, she had learned something important, that courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about facing fear with support and confidence. That evening, Lily looked at herself in the mirror. Her hair was still uneven, but she didn't feel embarrassed. She felt stronger, braver, and ready to face whatever came next. She understood that while physical things like hair could grow back, the lessons she had learned about self-respect, boundaries, and the importance of having people who care would last a lifetime. Lily's father sat beside her, helping her brush the tangled strands gently. "It's going to grow back," he said with a reassuring smile. "And until it does, we'll face it together." Lily smiled, feeling comforted. She knew that the worst part of what had happened, the feeling of being alone and powerless, was over. She had her family, her friends, and a support system that would stand by her no matter what. That night, as Lily lay in bed, she thought about the past 2 days. What had started as a normal Monday had turned into a story of fear, humiliation, courage, and ultimately protection. She realized that even in moments when life seemed unfair, the presence of someone who truly cares could make all the difference. And while she still had to face the challenges of school and growing up, Lily felt ready. She had been tested and she had come out stronger. With her father by her side and the support of those who cared, she knew that she could handle anything that came her way. The days after the incident slowly began to feel normal again. But for Lily, things were never going to be quite the same. She still had short, uneven hair that made her self-conscious. But she had learned something much more important than appearance. She had learned the strength of courage, the value of protection, and the difference it made to have people who truly cared about her. Lily's mornings started like they always did, with her mother preparing breakfast. But now the mood at home was lighter. Her father had returned from his work schedule and made sure to spend time with Lily every day. They talked, laughed, and sometimes quietly reflected on the events of the past week. Lily felt safe in a way she hadn't before, knowing that her father would always be there if she needed him. At school, the atmosphere had changed as well. Teachers were more attentive, ensuring students felt respected and supported. The principal had met with staff, emphasizing the importance of boundaries and kindness, and Mr. Thompson was no longer in the classroom. Some students approached Lily to apologize for laughing or staring, while others simply offered quiet support. These gestures, small as they seemed, made Lily feel valued and respected. One afternoon, Lily and her best friend Mia sat together under the large oak tree in the schoolyard. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting soft shadows on the ground. "You've been so strong, Lily," Mia said softly. "I don't know if I could have handled it the way you did." Lily shrugged, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "I was scared, yes," she admitted. "But having my dad there, it made all the difference." "I wasn't alone," Mia nodded. "I wish my parents could have helped me like that." "You're really lucky." Lily smiled faintly, feeling grateful but also proud. She had faced humiliation, fear, and uncertainty, but she had come out stronger. She realized that courage wasn't about never being afraid. It was about facing fear with the support and protection of those who cared about you. As the weeks went by, Lily's hair began to grow back. The uneven strands slowly evened out and she started to feel more confident again. But it wasn't just her hair that had changed. Lily herself had grown stronger. She had learned to speak up, to trust in her family, and to understand the value of respect and boundaries. At home, her father continued to guide her gently. He taught her that standing up for herself didn't always mean confrontation. Sometimes it meant knowing when to seek help, when to speak out, and when to trust the people who cared about her. He emphasized that what had happened wasn't her fault, and that no one had the right to humiliate or scare her. One evening, as Lily worked on a painting in her bedroom, her father came in and sat beside her. "You know, Lily," he said, "what you went through could have been very scary, but you handled it with bravery and grace. I'm proud of you." Lily looked up at him, feeling a warmth in her chest. "Thanks, Dad," she said softly. "I couldn't have done it without you." He smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "And I'll always be here no matter what. That's what family is for." At school, Lily gradually returned to her usual routines. She participated in art class, joined group projects, and even shared her experience with a small group of students during a lesson about empathy and respect. Her story became an example of courage and the importance of standing up for oneself. Some students listened in silence, others whispered encouragement, but all of them understood that what Lily had experienced was serious, and that the right response mattered. Teachers also took the incident as a reminder to be mindful of how they treated students. Boundaries were reinforced, and the school culture slowly shifted toward greater respect and care. The principal had meetings with staff, ensuring that no other child would experience what Lily had. Despite the challenges, Lily found joy in small moments. She laughed more easily, played freely, and even experimented with new hairstyles and accessories. Her confidence grew not just because of how she looked, but because of how she felt inside. She had faced fear, humiliation, and uncertainty, and had come through it with courage. One Saturday afternoon, the family decided to go to the park together. Lily ran ahead, her hair bouncing in the sunlight, her laughter ringing through the air. Her father watched her with pride, and her mother followed, smiling. It was a moment of pure happiness, a moment that reminded them all of what really mattered: love, care, and being there for each other. Later that evening, as they returned home, Lily sat with her parents on the couch. "I think I've learned something important," she said thoughtfully. "It's not just about hair or looking perfect. It's about feeling safe, being respected, and knowing that the people who love you will protect you." Her father nodded, his eyes soft but serious. "Exactly, Lily. Life can be unfair sometimes, and people can make mistakes. But what matters is how we handle it, how we protect each other, and how we grow stronger from it." Her mother smiled, placing a hand on Lily's shoulder. "You've shown courage beyond your years. I'm proud of the person you are becoming." Lily felt a sense of peace settle over her. The events that had once seemed like a nightmare were now a part of her story, a story of growth, courage, and protection. She realized that while the incident had been painful, it had also taught her invaluable lessons about respect, trust, and the strength of family. Over time, Lily's confidence returned fully. She no longer worried about what others thought, and she carried herself with quiet assurance. Her classmates treated her with more respect, and she formed stronger friendships. She understood that while people could sometimes make mistakes, having support, love, and courage could help her navigate any challenge. Her father remained her steadfast protector, but he also encouraged her independence. He taught her to make decisions, to speak up when needed, and to trust her instincts. Lily understood that she was capable of standing up for herself, but that having someone by her side made the world feel safer. As weeks turned into months, the memory of the incident slowly became less painful. It was still a lesson she would never forget.